Woburn. I'm your host, Samantha Stone. The summer is flying by. It feels like there's so much going on across the city, though. Grateful as always to connect with people who are doing important work across the city and offering interesting ways to engage with each other and the community. But first up, as always, we're going to catch up with Mayor Concannon. Welcome, Mike.
Hi, Samantha. How are you doing?
I'm good. I pretended to take vacation last week, but it wasn't real. So it's
There were a lot of you last week on vacation.
I assure you my August vacation will be real. I'm gonna go out of town. Be more disciplined. But there's lots of good stuff happening and lots of people were helping last week. So I'm grateful that we could do that. But I thought we could start our conversation today with the thing that we probably want to talk the least about, but is really important to a lot of people, which is the trash. We know that it's been now a couple of weeks since we've been rolling out the new trash system, the automation. We recognize that for most people, they received their cart and used it without incident, but it hasn't been perfect. There has been a few hiccups, and there's been a
Yeah.
little bit of some compounding because of some things that don't relate specifically to Woburn, but have affected us in terms of strikes at disposal plants and things. And so
Yeah.
I thought this would be a good opportunity to just give you a chance to talk. I know you met with Waste Management last week along with the Board of Health and wanted to just give you a chance to update people on what we learned and where things are at today.
Yeah. So we did have a meeting last week with our provider, Waste Management. They're a very cooperative, collaborative team. Ed and Christine are always there whenever we need them, and we had a very good conversation with them. It was a scheduled touch base meeting to see where we are a few weeks into the new program. We did the same thing last year with the recycling program. So we had a good discussion with them. And of course, we did talk about the rollout of the trash program and some of the glitches that occurred. And we have all been committed to learning the lessons from the recycling rollout and implementing them this time around. And I think all in all, we did a pretty good job. That is in no way meant to diminish the impacts of those who did have some issues and experience some of the glitches. And we know that, even some of the small things can be a pain in the neck. So we don't diminish that, and we appreciate that. And I can tell you, everyone's been working hard to try to help get through some of those glitches. I feel like a couple of weeks in, things are a lot better now. But we did learn from our team at Waste Management some of the very particular issues that all came together around the same time to make the rollout a little more glitchy than we would have liked. As we know, there's a trash strike in the area. Some of the communities north of us are dealing with their provider being on strike. And even though it doesn't directly impact us, our provider is not. When we go to the disposal locations to dump our trash, which we do a couple times during a day as the trucks are going around the city, what is normally a very quick turnaround has turned into a longer process. So that has impacted how quickly we're able to get our city done, and it has knocked our schedule off a couple of times. So that's one reason, not an excuse, but a reason why things were, a little more sluggish than we would have liked. We did learn lessons based on the number of bins that were distributed during recycling. We applied those to the distribution of bins this time around, but there were a couple of other unavoidable things that happened that slowed some of that process down. Ultimately, out of the 13,000 or so bins and residences, thousands upon thousands were without a hitch, but a couple did have hitches. And one of the reasons we had the meeting with Waste Management was to nail down as many of those issues as we could, and respond to those complaints, get those things addressed immediately, and move on so people can hopefully embrace this new way of doing recycling and trash pickup. So it was a good meeting. We do have faith in our provider. They are a good team. They are working with us to resolve issues. And I felt like it was a genuine effort on their part to double down on their efforts to make this as smooth as they possibly can.
Yeah, thank you for that. I know that one of the things that there was 100 and something people who were waiting for a second trash cart that had placed an order. I believe all of those got delivered last week. They had a little chance to catch up. So things like that are starting. I think the overflow bags at the beginning, we had a little slowness. They
Yep.
sold out of them faster than expected. People use them, but I think they're now stably in a couple of locations. So I think, it's getting a little bit better each week.
And we do appreciate patience. And, it can be a pain in the neck when you go to put your trash out and it's not going as smoothly as you thought. And, you got to make a couple of calls. But I can tell you that on our side, the team and the Board of Health, assisted by you and Diane and Chris and others, have been doing everything we can to respond to those citizens' issues with a polite, respectful, cooperative approach and understanding approach. So hopefully people realize that we are working hard to get through this. And as I said, in the beginning, a little bit of patience, a little bit of cooperation, and a realization that change can be difficult. A little bit of that all put together gets us through a glitch. And I think, in no time at all, this will be the way we do business, and people will be just used to it by then.
Yeah, and we appreciate when people are reporting, addresses that weren't picked up because they can't fix what they don't know.
Yeah.
So I know the Board of Health is grateful for that insight. Is we rather know than not know, and they've been really trying very hard to keep up with everything. And like I said, I think each week it's getting a little bit better. So that's good. Excellent. Let's talk about, because we decided to do two big things at the same time, which is the community electricity program, not quite as much work for people or as much of a change as the trash rollout, but we did have an opportunity to lock in some competitive supply rates. And the deadline for opting out of that program has passed. Now, just as a reminder for everybody, anybody can opt in and out of the program at any point in time. It was just to be participating in the initial rollout, what that deadline was. I don't want people to worry. Right.
Deadline. I know some people said, did I miss it? Did I miss it? And, one of the best, aspects of this whole program is that you can opt in, opt out. You can change every other day if you'd like, and there's no penalty, there's no restriction, there's nothing. So it was an initial deadline, just try to get the thing rolled out. But if people, didn't do what they wish they had done, they could do it tomorrow. And if they want to undo it, they can undo it the next day. So to your point, this is an opportunity for people to take advantage of, collective aggregated purchasing of electricity in a way that will ensure stability and, at least at the outset, a reduced price. So to me, that's a win-win. It's long-term predictable costs that, at least for now, end up being less than what almost everyone was paying. And if for some reason it goes up, it goes down with your Eversource provider in February when they adjust their rates, and you want to go back to Eversource, you can do that. And you can do it with very little effort and no penalty, no downside at all. But we think that with our long-term stable rate, this was a no-brainer for the city to do, and that it was up to each individual homeowner to determine what's the best option for them. So.
Excellent. Now, I know we have some data from other communities in Massachusetts who have done this before us that sort of told what percentage of the community stays opted in. And I know that our partner tells us that rate actually grows quite substantially over time, that people actually, even more people opt in who maybe weren't using Eversource as supplier, et cetera. Do we have a sense of when we might know what percentage of Woburn is on the program? And again, as a reminder, it could be one person or everybody. It doesn't affect the rate. So we're not incented to force people to do anything, but it would be, it's nice to see kind of how many people are participating.
I have it right in front of me just yet, but we're expecting to get the numbers of those who chose the particular options, as well as those who chose to stay with Eversource and not adopt this particular option. So maybe by the time we meet next week, we'll have some numbers. And again, to your point, it really doesn't matter in terms of the rate that's been locked in, how many people chose which, but it would be interesting to get that information. So as soon as we have it, we'll share it.
That sounds great. Now, I want to talk about something a little fun. I know last week you and some others had a chance to sort of do a walk around the new Green Street Splash Park. I know there's still some final punch list items. Anybody who's done a big project at their home or anywhere else knows there's always little things at the end that you notice that need to be resolved. Where do you think we'll end up? We had hoped to open at the end of this month. Are we, still
Yeah.
likely to do that, or you think it might be a little bit longer?
Right now we're at the point where we're doing commissioning of the equipment this week. Basically turning everything on, making sure it works the way it's supposed to. The installer and the vendor come up and run it through it with us. Also, there's a bit of training for our folks to understand how it all works. So that's happening this week. There's also punch list items being addressed. The long-standing target opening date was always going to be late July. As of right now, I think we're still looking at that. We'll see what happens with the commissioning. You always kind of keep your fingers crossed that everything works exactly the way it's supposed to. We'll know that later this week. And again, some of those minor, those punch list items, we think they should be able to be addressed fairly quickly. We had the site visit last week with our contractor, local contractor, Heimlich Landscaping and Construction, walk through the entire site with Todd Heimlich. He's optimistic that he'll be able to address any and all of those issues. So, the punch list completion coupled with the commissioning of the equipment, as of right now, I think we're still holding to the late July target opening. And if anything changes or we learn something in the meantime, we'll make sure people know.
That's great. I have to say, a couple people I think took pictures, saw everybody sort of walking around. They were a little disappointed you all weren't in bathing suits, checking out the sprays themselves.
Believe,
But
believe me, they are not disappointed that I was not in a bathing suit.
I told them not to hold their breath. We'll probably focus on the kids using the park. But we appreciate that. As an exciting addition to the city. I know the Clap Park gets really good use, and this is a little bit more spray options and things. So should be another great addition.
Premature and opening it and then having to, we learned something and had to cancel it. So we'll get it right, but hopefully it's open soon and everyone can enjoy it for the rest of the summer.
Awesome. Now we know Woburn Rec this is their busiest time of year. They do things all year round, but this time of year they have all kinds of camps and programs and lots of things that are happening simultaneously. One of the things that's coming up will be the mayor's picnic that they do in August every year. And I assume you're looking forward to hanging out with families.
It's a lot of fun. I had my first one as mayor last year and really enjoyed it. I had gone all the other ones, obviously when I was on the council, but also the Lions Club does the cooking for the event, and I've probably been to 30 of them over the years. They were a lot of fun. It's a nice way to wrap up the summer and all the rec programs and bring all the rec kids together. All the rec counselors come down. It's a lot of fun. It's a great day. We don't want to rush it. We have weeks to go to enjoy summer before that. We actually had the rec family night last week, which was great. Good crowd. We had a one-man sing along, and then we had movie night, which was great. Good crowd. It was hot. It was really hot. Thankfully, the sun set just in time for the movie, and it cooled down a little bit, but it was a lot of fun. And then by the time this airs, it'll be too late. But tonight at Spence Farm, the rec is doing the Yo-Yo Guy, which I may stop and visit on my way home tonight, see what that's all about. So yeah, there's always a lot of fun things to do with rec, and I appreciate everything Rory and Brian do and the whole team, and supported by Steve and his parks crew and Jay and the DPW crew. It's a great collaborative effort to make sure that there's a lot of fun things for the kids and the others to enjoy throughout the summer.
Yeah, I always remember very fondly when my kids were younger and we would go out to do these things. And one of the things I always loved about all these programs was when they say they're family friendly, they mean it. If your kids run around and make a little bit too much noise, that's okay. That's what these things are about. If you got to leave early because you need to leave early, you leave early. If you come a little bit late, you come a little bit late. These movie nights and things are flexible by design, and hopefully they tire your children out so they fall asleep when they get home.
Look, eyes. Hopefully this will cause them to sleep well tonight.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. That was always my wish. So thank you as always for joining me, Mike. I really appreciate it. Awesome. Next up, I'd like everybody to meet Kristen. Thank you for joining us, Kristen.
I'm so happy to have been invited.
You know, one of the things that everybody who watches this show knows is I get very excited when people in the community step up and want to serve and help each other out in new ways. And you have done that by envisioning what a community fridge might look like in Woburn and taking some steps to get us to that point. Tell us a little bit about what inspired you to take on this project.
So I work at MGH. I manage a Medicaid contract there, and a lot of my work is understanding the data around food insecurity. And so I happen to um, know what the data is around Woburn, and it's honestly not different than it is everywhere else. We have a 15 to 20% food insecurity rate in Massachusetts in general. And I moved here in 2020. I saw an opportunity having come from Dorchester, where there's a very successful community fridge, and thought, well, I can do this and I can bring it out to the suburbs with me. And so I started asking around and got involved with the city, and here we are.
Well, I'm very excited. I love your partnering, you know, in terms of location with a familiar spot that already serves food insecure folks in some important ways. Tell us a little bit about where this will be and your
Yeah.
partner.
So interestingly, I had worked with SCI in Woburn to mentor some kids a couple of years ago, and they were heavily involved in helping food pantries get culturally relevant foods into food pantries. Their organization is called Inclusive Eats, if you want to check it out. They worked closely with um, Pastor Bill at the Dwelling Place at the United Methodist Church at 523 Main Street. And so I thought that was an easy first step. And so turns out it wasn't just an easy first step. He was really on board right away. He's an excellent human. And like you said, they already have a food program there. They serve dinner on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturdays. And they actually have an Eagle Scout had built a little food box in the front that a lot of people have seen and contributed to. So this kind of takes that a step further. He was right on board and suggested we put the fridge in the back of the church. It'll be mobility accessible, and be able to kind of just plug into the current electrical system, but also act as a really nice complement to their current food programs already. And so they have a lot of volunteers running those programs, and they can contribute to what goes in the fridge. Um, but they also, just having them know about it and being able to spread the word through their regular networks is going to be really helpful.
Yeah, it's a great program. Inclusive Eats is fabulous. Those who participate in Kindness Day, we did some different kinds of spice and additive things because those things add flavor and make pantry food that we often get in food pantries really taste like home. And so really like the work that they do there. And the Dwelling Place is an organization that really has served Woburn for a long time, and we're really grateful that they're there. So it's a wonderful place for this to be, and a place that a lot of folks who will need it already gather. So that's a nice and convenient place. How can we as a city, how can we in Woburn help support the community fridge and help make sure this gets up and running in as quickly a time frame as possible?
Yeah, I mean, the city and the departments of the city have been really super helpful. Um, excuse me, we are hoping for a late August launch. It'll be a soft launch, only insofar as we won't have a complete shed over the refrigerator at that point, but we have the refrigerator. It will be on a plot of concrete behind the church. And at that point, we should be able to have people come 24/7 whenever they need to check out if there's food. Now, there's so many ways that people can get involved, and it can be literally a one-time thing, or it can be an ongoing thing, or there's all sorts of creative ways to also get involved with people from your church or high school kids or even middle school kids who want to help out here. I would say as individuals, we're going to need folks to bring food. So that may mean picking up a couple extra things at the supermarket and just dropping them off in the fridge on your way by. It could mean you work for a restaurant or you know folks at a restaurant around town and you can help spread the word, though we're also going to do that. Um, and maybe there's leftover food or they've bought too much of something. Or they just also want to make food and donate it on a regular basis. So regular basis, every Tuesday, let's just say every Tuesday, you make pasta for your family and you want to put some in to-go containers and bring it to the fridge. Awesome. Or every Tuesday you walk from the library home with your kids and you could stop by and just check and see if things are still fresh and if anything needs to be thrown out. Of course, please don't do that without, officially letting us know and being part of the group. But I just think there's so many opportunities and none of them cost a lot of money. Some of them are free to do. And it would act so much impact. Being able to help this for as long as I need to, I will be that person. And so I will take any help that comes my way and organize volunteers so that you really have a fruitful experience and you understand the importance of it and you can really feel like you're giving something back.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to make sure that our producer puts your contact information up on the screen, but how is it best for people to reach out to you who want to get involved and help support you as we prepare for launch?
Yeah. Search for the Facebook and Instagram pages for Woburn Community Fridge. They're a little sparse right now as we kind of ramp up to our soft launch. Email communityfridge.woburn@gmail.com. And we have a website up. So hopefully she'll be able to post a website because it might be too long for me to say.
That's fantastic. Kristen, thank you for spearheading what I know is going to serve our community well and give all of us another relatively easy way to participate in supporting folks who need a little bit of a hand up. And it's always nice for us to have those things. We appreciate it.
I'm excited. Thank you for your help.
Thank you so much. Next up, we're going to talk about a way that you get to motivate your kids to read this summer. Next up, I promised you I'm going to give you a way for you to talk with your, motivate your children for reading. I'm very excited to have Diane with us from Winchester Savings. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity to come in and speak to you about how to motivate your children to read.
Excellent. Well, we always like a fun new way. We've talked in the past about the summer reading program at the library. There's lots of fun things, but this is also a really fun way to motivate families to participate. Tell us a little bit about the program.
So the program has been going on at Winchester Savings Bank for many years. It gives the opportunity for children to get rewarded for reading during the summer months. This year it's running from July 1st until September 14th. And it covers every age group up until 18. So what happens is they read at least 5 books. They make notice of it on their sheet. They bring in the sheet. We give them a gift card to Barnes and Noble. And they also, if they have a savings account with their parents, we deposit $10 into that account. And if they don't, they can open one and receive $10. So money and a gift card.
I like it. Gift card and money. That's hard to beat that. That's a good combination.
Yeah, so, and we have a lot of great feedback and the kids actually really like it. And they're so happy to show us that this is what I read and this is what I did. So it's fun for them.
I like that. Gives them a reason to kind of track it too, which is just kind of a nice thing to have, and for all ages. I think that's wonderful.
Absolutely.
That's great. Now you're also doing some other fun things this summer. Tell us about that.
We are. So Winchester Savings also, we have done Wednesdays in July are popsicle days. So this coming Wednesday on the 23rd in Woburn Center, where we are right next to the Brickyard, 375 Main Street. That's going to be our day to offer popsicles to anyone who comes into the branch. So we'd love for the kids to come in with their parents, even with school, like if they have camp groups that want to come by and they get to pick something that they like for a cool treat.
Well, that sounds really fun.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of popsicles in this warm weather, that's for sure.
So we think that will be something fun for them. And then in August, we'll do the same thing, but we'll do that with ice cream. And we'll give them an ice cream, and they actually get to bring home an ice cream scoop that says Winchester Savings Bank on it. And that'll be on, August 14th. So you can visit our branch on those dates, but if you go onto our website, you'll see what days the other branches have available. But that's for us here at 375 Main.
I love it. So you could do a whole Winchester Savings Bank ice cream popsicle.
Yeah, pop around.
Pop all around the
Yeah.
community. That's my kind of cold treat. I love that. Thank you so much for joining us, Diane. And
Thank you for having me. We're really glad to be part of the Woburn community and excited for what's to come.
Yeah, we're really so grateful for Winchester Savings and Kristen and all the people who come on the show this summer and always sharing new ways for us to have some fun, to lift each other up and do some wonderful things. So please, as always, Woburn, please continue to take good care of each other.